You're listening to the Bare Metal Cyber Prepcast, created to help you succeed in your educational journey. Learn more at baremetalcyber.com, where additional prepcasts, books, and training materials await. Let's get started. Collaboration with customers is the living engine that aligns intent, shortens feedback loops, and increases the chance that what teams deliver creates true value. This orientation stresses that interaction is not a courtesy or a marketing exercise. It is a disciplined practice designed to influence choices and validate outcomes. Structured collaboration ensures that intent is tested against reality early and often, so surprises are reduced and adoption becomes more likely. It also turns customers from passive recipients into active partners in shaping product increments. Done well, collaboration raises transparency, builds empathy, and improves trust between users and teams. Done poorly, it becomes theater, with gestures of listening that do not alter decisions. Real collaboration is purposeful, inclusive, and accountable. It ensures that every conversation has the potential to improve design, reduce risk, and increase the reliability of shipped outcomes. Collaboration objectives must be tied to tangible outcomes rather than vague notions of goodwill. Teams should seek interaction that clarifies fit, validates usability, or reduces risk exposure. For example, a session with customers might be framed as confirming whether a proposed workflow reduces task completion time or whether it introduces new accessibility barriers. Without clear objectives, collaboration risks becoming relationship maintenance rather than decision support. Objectives also give structure to the time invested, reassuring customers that their input is valued and consequential. When outcomes guide collaboration, feedback directly influences backlog items, priorities, and acceptance criteria. This focus builds confidence on both sides. Customers see their voice reflected in choices, while teams gain sharper evidence for their decisions. Objectives transform collaboration from courtesy into capability, ensuring it drives the product forward in measurable, meaningful ways. Stakeholder mapping ensures that collaboration includes all voices that shape value and safety. Customers are not a single homogeneous group. They include end users, buyers, operators, support teams, and regulators. Each plays a different role in defining needs and constraints. For example, buyers may focus on cost and compliance, while end users emphasize usability and reliability. Regulators add safety or privacy obligations that shape what can be delivered. Mapping stakeholders prevents the trap of relying only on the loudest or most convenient voices. It also supports fairness, ensuring that products serve the broader ecosystem rather than a narrow segment. By clarifying whose perspectives matter, teams design collaboration that is balanced and representative. Stakeholder mapping protects against blind spots and builds confidence that product decisions are shaped with awareness of the full context in which value must be realized. An engagement model establishes how collaboration will occur. It sets expectations for cadence, preparation, confidentiality, and decision timing, making interaction predictable and respectful. For example, a monthly cadence of customer demos may be paired with pre-reads distributed 2 days in advance and clear confidentiality agreements when sensitive topics are discussed. Decision timelines are communicated so customers understand when their input will be considered. This structure prevents both overuse and neglect of customer time. It also builds trust, as participants see that collaboration is managed deliberately rather than opportunistically. A strong engagement model balances responsiveness with sustainability, ensuring that collaboration is consistent without becoming a burden. It frames interaction as a disciplined partnership. By making expectations explicit, organizations raise the quality of conversations and protect long-term goodwill, while ensuring input remains timely and actionable. Co-creation practices bring customers directly into shaping solutions, rather than treating them as reviewers after the fact. This may include involving them in problem framing, story splitting, and shaping acceptance criteria. For example, a customer might help define what simplified reporting means in observable terms, or co-create acceptance criteria that reflect their operational reality. Co-creation prevents misalignment between what teams believe is valuable and what customers actually need. It also builds stronger ownership, as customers feel they helped craft the solution. The practice requires humility. Teams must treat customers as equal partners in defining problems, not just validating finished work. Co-creation transforms collaboration from reactive feedback into proactive partnership. It raises adoption likelihood, as solutions carry the fingerprints of those who will use them. It demonstrates respect for customer expertise and strengthens the bond of trust between users and teams. Empathy and context capture ensure that collaboration reflects reality rather than assumptions. Customers bring stories about their jobs to be done, the constraints they face, and the environments in which they operate. For example, a field worker may explain how connectivity issues disrupt workflows, or a compliance officer may describe pressures from upcoming audits. Capturing these narratives builds empathy and anchors design choices in real conditions. It also surfaces needs that are not obvious from telemetry alone, such as emotional stress from unreliable tools. Empathy requires listening deeply without rushing to solutions. Context capture documents these insights, ensuring they influence backlog items and acceptance criteria. This practice reminds teams that products live in human contexts, not abstract designs. Empathy and context make collaboration more than transactional. It becomes a lens through which decisions are judged against lived experience. A channel mix provides multiple avenues for collaboration, balancing depth and scale. Interviews deliver nuanced understanding, while demos expose real reactions to working increments. Beta programs and pilots test adoption under real conditions. Support reviews mine recurring pain points, while telemetry briefings provide broad quantitative evidence. For example, combining beta feedback with support ticket themes may reveal both usability hurdles and systemic performance issues. No single channel captures the whole picture. Variety ensures completeness. Channel mixing also increases inclusivity, allowing different stakeholders to engage in ways that suit their context. This balance prevents over-reliance on any one voice or method. By blending channels, organizations collect both the richness of stories and the breadth of patterns. The result is collaboration that is robust, representative, and able to guide product decisions with greater confidence. Representation safeguards ensure that collaboration does not tilt toward the most vocal or convenient customers. They include deliberate coverage of segments, rotation of participants, and inclusion of edge cases. For example, involving accessibility users in demos ensures that design choices account for diverse abilities, not just mainstream needs. Representation prevents distortion, where products are shaped by narrow perspectives that may not represent the majority or high-risk groups. Safeguards also build fairness, demonstrating that input is distributed equitably across the user base. By formalizing coverage, organizations avoid complacency, where the same familiar voices dominate conversations. Representation safeguards protect both value and trust, ensuring that collaboration produces outcomes that are inclusive and resilient. They remind teams that the purpose of engagement is not comfort, but completeness, bringing in voices that might otherwise be marginalized or ignored. Conflict of interest and ethics guardrails protect the integrity of collaboration. Customers may have incentives that conflict with broader system needs, or data may be sensitive in ways that require boundaries. Transparency about confidentiality, incentive structures, and how input will be used builds trust. For example, participants in a beta program should know what telemetry is collected, how it will be anonymized, and who can access it. Guardrails prevent exploitation, ensuring that collaboration respects dignity and fairness. They also prevent manipulation, where certain stakeholders push for outcomes that serve them but harm others. By embedding ethical practices, organizations reinforce that collaboration is a partnership, not an extraction. Guardrails make engagement sustainable, maintaining credibility with participants. This discipline ensures that collaboration is principled as well as productive, protecting trust as carefully as functionality. Remote and asynchronous collaboration ensures inclusion regardless of location, time zone, or schedule. Practices include distributing pre-reads, collecting written perspectives, and recording sessions. For example, a global team might gather feedback from users across continents by allowing them to comment on shared documents rather than attend live meetings. Asynchronous collaboration reduces barriers to participation and prevents location privilege from dominating decisions. It also makes contributions more thoughtful, as participants have time to reflect before responding. By designing collaboration for distributed contexts, organizations respect diverse circumstances while maintaining rhythm. This inclusivity strengthens both the quality and fairness of insights. Remote and asynchronous methods demonstrate that collaboration adapts to users, not the other way around, reinforcing that participation is valued and accessible to all stakeholders. Language and accessibility practices ensure that collaboration is understandable and inclusive. Avoiding jargon and technical shorthand makes sessions more approachable, especially for non-technical stakeholders. Using plain speech, captions, audio-friendly formats, and assistive technology compatibility ensures that all participants can contribute. For example, presenting acceptance criteria in plain behavioral terms helps users understand and critique them meaningfully. Accessibility in collaboration is as important as accessibility in design. Without it, certain voices are silenced. By making language and formats inclusive, organizations expand the diversity of input. They also demonstrate respect, acknowledging that collaboration must be clear to be effective. Language and accessibility practices transform engagement from specialist discussions into open dialogues. They strengthen trust and ensure that collaboration represents the full range of stakeholders rather than a privileged subset. Decision rights clarity prevents collaboration from collapsing into stalemates or hidden vetoes. Customers must know whether they are advising, deciding, or contributing perspective. Teams must know who holds final decision-making authority and how tie-breaks will occur. For example, a product owner may commit to considering input while reserving authority to balance scope against capacity. Clarity prevents frustration as stakeholders understand their role. It also accelerates resolution, avoiding cycles of endless debate. Decision rights transparency builds trust by showing that voices are heard while acknowledging boundaries. It ensures that collaboration influences choices without creating paralysis. By defining roles explicitly, organizations maintain momentum and respect, transforming collaboration into constructive partnership rather than contested negotiation. Feedback quality standards ensure that customer contributions are actionable. Collaboration must require specificity, examples, and decision relevance, not vague opinions. For example, instead of "the dashboard feels slow," feedback should specify "report generation takes 5 minutes for 100 records, exceeding the agreed target of 2." Standards raise signal strength, making input easier to interpret and apply. They also guide participants, teaching them how to frame observations usefully. Feedback quality transforms collaboration from anecdote collection into evidence gathering. It also prevents frustration, as teams can respond to clear input with targeted improvements. By embedding standards, organizations respect both customer time and team capacity, ensuring that collaboration produces results. This discipline raises the value of interaction, turning conversations into drivers of meaningful change. Expectation management prevents collaboration from becoming a source of overpromise or disappointment. Clear boundaries must be set on scope flexibility, time boxes, and, if time remains, options. For example, customers may be told that certain suggestions will be noted but may not fit within the current increment. By managing expectations, organizations preserve trust even when requests are declined. It also prevents teams from inflating backlogs with speculative items that dilute focus. Expectation clarity frames collaboration as an honest dialogue, not a promise factory. It demonstrates respect for participants by treating their contributions seriously while remaining transparent about limits. By aligning expectations, organizations make collaboration sustainable and credible. This discipline ensures that interaction strengthens rather than erodes trust, balancing ambition with realism. Anti-pattern awareness protects collaboration from degenerating into empty rituals. Common pitfalls include performative listening where nothing changes, proxy-only input where internal staff speculate about users, and last-minute sign-offs that masquerade as engagement. These anti-patterns erode trust and reduce the credibility of collaboration. By naming them, organizations remain vigilant. They ensure that collaboration is judged by its influence on decisions, not its appearance. Anti-pattern vigilance protects the integrity of engagement, reinforcing that the purpose is not theater but impact. By rejecting shallow practices, organizations preserve the value of collaboration as a true partnership. This awareness strengthens culture, ensuring that interaction remains a reliable driver of alignment, feedback, and adoption. For more cyber-related content and books, please check out cyberauthor.me. Also, there are other prepcasts on cybersecurity and more at baremetalcyber.com. Agenda design ensures that collaboration sessions are purposeful rather than meandering. Every agenda should link topics directly to outcomes or decisions that will be taken. For example, instead of a generic customer feedback session, the agenda might specify validate acceptance criteria for the reporting workflow, or assess usability of new onboarding flow with assistive technologies. This clarity helps participants prepare, increases focus during discussion, and reduces fatigue from unfocused meetings. Agenda design also signals respect for customer time, demonstrating that their involvement is tied to meaningful choices. By structuring agendas around questions and evidence needs, organizations keep collaboration grounded in action rather than ceremony. This discipline transforms interaction from exploratory conversation into decision support. It ensures that sessions generate actionable input that can be traced directly to backlog changes, design updates, or acceptance adjustments, reinforcing the value of customer partnership. Backlog refinement with customers integrates collaboration directly into delivery planning. Instead of treating customer input as abstract feedback, refinement sessions convert it into clarified items, right-size slices, and updated acceptance criteria. For example, feedback that search feels too slow might become a backlog item with specific acceptance conditions. Return results under 2 seconds for 95% of queries. This practice ensures that collaboration has visible outcomes in the product backlog. It also prevents feedback from languishing in notes or summaries, disconnected from action. By refining with customers, teams create traceability. Every story can link back to the conversation that shaped it. This transparency builds trust, as customers see their input translated into concrete work. Backlog refinement demonstrates that collaboration is consequential, ensuring that voices outside the team are reflected directly in the flow of delivery. Demonstration discipline transforms demos into evidence-rich collaborations, rather than one-way showcases. Instead of merely presenting features, teams frame demonstrations in realistic scenarios that mirror actual use. For example, a demo of a payment process might simulate real transaction volumes or accessibility constraints. Customers are invited to assess not only whether the feature works, but whether it fits their needs, closes identified gaps, or creates unintended effects. Discipline also includes focusing on outcomes, the problem addressed, the intended change, and the observed behavior. This approach prevents the trap of superficial looks-good approval. By grounding demos in reality and linking them to acceptance criteria, teams create space for candid, actionable assessment. Demonstration discipline reinforces trust by showing that validation is not theater but rigorous testing of fit. It makes collaboration sharper, ensuring that feedback flows into improvements before release. Beta and pilot programs extend collaboration into real environments under controlled conditions. By defining cohorts, safeguards, and success thresholds, these programs turn customer engagement into measurable learning opportunities. For example, a beta release might go to 10% of users with telemetry tracking error rates, latency, and task completion times. Success thresholds, such as no more than 2% error spike, ensure objectivity in evaluation. Pilots contain risk by limiting exposure while still providing authentic feedback that labs cannot capture. They also build confidence for broader rollout, as early results confirm readiness. Beta programs strengthen collaboration by showing customers that their participation directly shapes release quality. They also reinforce humility, acknowledging that products must prove themselves in real-world use. By embedding structured pilots, organizations make customer interaction a reliable, evidence-driven step in delivery. Support loop integration mines a rich, often underutilized source of customer insight. Support tickets, recurring themes, and time-to-resolution signals. These data reveal friction points that structured sessions may miss, as customers often voice issues only when problems are severe. For example, a spike in tickets around password resets may highlight usability issues invisible in demos. Integrating support signals ensures that collaboration is continuous, not confined to scheduled sessions. It also provides quantitative evidence, showing the frequency and severity of pain points. Support loop integration strengthens empathy by highlighting the lived costs of defects or poor usability. It also reinforces accountability, as support data can be tied directly to backlog prioritization. By treating support as part of collaboration, organizations broaden the voice of the customer, ensuring that feedback reflects both invited participants and the wider user base. Risk and compliance participation ensures that collaboration includes safety, privacy, and legal partners early in the process. Too often, these stakeholders are brought in at the end, creating adversarial reviews that delay release. By involving them in customer conversations, organizations surface obligations before design is locked in. For example, a compliance officer may highlight privacy concerns during a customer workshop, leading to acceptance criteria that integrate encryption from the start. This proactive inclusion reduces rework, builds trust, and aligns obligations with user needs. It also prevents the perception that compliance is a blocker, reframing it as a partner in design. By embedding risk and compliance voices in collaboration, organizations ensure that safety and trust attributes are considered as essential parts of value. This practice strengthens alignment across all stakeholders, reducing friction and improving delivery credibility. Shared visibility empowers stakeholders to self-serve context between collaboration sessions. Concise dashboards or narrative summaries aligned to outcomes allow participants to stay informed without constant meetings. For example, a customer-facing dashboard might show adoption trends, defect rates, or status against increment goals. This transparency reduces information asymmetry and builds confidence that feedback loops remain active. Shared visibility also reinforces accountability, as stakeholders see whether prior feedback translated into change. It prevents disengagement by keeping context current and accessible. By offering visibility, organizations respect stakeholder time while strengthening trust. This practice demonstrates that collaboration is ongoing, not episodic. Shared visibility turns information into a common asset, ensuring alignment across diverse groups. It also reduces reliance on memory or personal relationships, embedding transparency into the system of delivery. Escalation and decision forums provide structured spaces to resolve disagreements without stalling momentum. These forums document options, decision criteria, and timelines, ensuring transparency in resolution. For example, if users request conflicting features, a decision forum may weigh trade-offs in terms of value, cost, and risk, producing a documented rationale. Escalation forums also define who has final authority, preventing hidden vetoes or prolonged debate. By creating visible, accountable pathways, organizations prevent collaboration from devolving into deadlock. They also reinforce respect, showing stakeholders that disagreements are handled fairly. Escalation forums make decision-making predictable, reducing uncertainty for both customers and teams. This practice ensures that collaboration remains productive, even when consensus is impossible. It transforms disagreement from paralysis into progress, sustaining trust while moving forward responsibly. Customer enablement ensures that collaboration continues after delivery by equipping users with the knowledge and confidence to adopt changes. Enablement may include brief guides, change notes, or micro-training snippets embedded in workflows. For example, a new dashboard might be accompanied by a 1-minute video explaining key features and shortcuts. This support helps new behavior stick, reducing reversion to old habits. Enablement demonstrates that collaboration is not only about listening, but about empowering customers to succeed with what has been delivered. It also reduces support burden, as users gain confidence in navigating changes. By embedding enablement, organizations make adoption part of the collaboration loop. They ensure that value realized matches value promised, reinforcing trust in both the product and the process of continuous interaction. Closure communication provides transparency at the end of each collaboration cycle. It summarizes what was heard, what will change, and what will not, explaining why. For example, a closure note might state, "You asked for expanded reporting. We will prioritize export options next quarter, but advanced filters are deferred due to low frequency of use." This transparency maintains trust even when requests are declined. It shows that input was respected and considered seriously. Closure also prevents confusion, as stakeholders understand how their feedback influenced the backlog. By communicating outcomes explicitly, organizations close the loop on collaboration. They transform interaction from speculation into accountability. Closure communication strengthens credibility, ensuring that stakeholders remain engaged over time. It demonstrates that customer voices matter, not only when they are accepted, but also when they are respectfully declined. Vendor and partner collaboration extends interaction beyond internal teams and customers. Many products depend on external services and interfaces, and alignment is essential. For example, collaborating with a vendor on API versioning ensures that both sides maintain backward compatibility. Partner collaboration includes aligning service-level agreements, change cadences, and evidence expectations. It prevents surprises at boundaries, where misaligned changes often create friction. Including vendors in collaboration also builds resilience, as shared dashboards and telemetry create transparency across organizations. This practice reinforces that ecosystems, not just single teams, shape customer outcomes. By extending collaboration across boundaries, organizations create coherence in delivery. They strengthen trust with both customers and partners, ensuring that improvements scale smoothly across the systems on which users depend. Measurement of collaboration health ensures that interaction remains effective rather than ceremonial. Key signals include participation equity, latency and feedback response, and rework caused by misalignment. For example, if only a narrow group participates consistently, equity is lacking. If feedback takes weeks to influence backlog changes, latency is too high. Measuring health provides evidence for refining practices, pruning low-value rituals, and improving inclusivity. It also reinforces accountability. Collaboration must be evaluated like any other system. Health metrics ensure that collaboration remains humane as well as productive, avoiding fatigue or tokenism. By measuring collaboration, organizations sustain its credibility. They demonstrate that interaction is not only frequent but effective, producing decisions and outcomes that reflect customer voices reliably. Knowledge capture ensures that collaboration insights travel across teams and persist over time. Stories, acceptance examples, and decision rationales must be stored in searchable repositories. For example, a repository might include validated personas, narratives of user pain points, and linked acceptance criteria. This continuity prevents rediscovery and accelerates onboarding. It also democratizes insights, making them accessible beyond immediate participants. Knowledge capture turns collaboration into an organizational asset, compounding value with every interaction. It also strengthens accountability, as decisions can be revisited transparently. By embedding capture, organizations ensure that customer insights are not lost to memory or turnover. This practice builds resilience, ensuring that collaboration continues to inform delivery long after sessions end. Sustaining practices keep collaboration high signal and humane over the long term. These include rotating participants to prevent fatigue, pruning rituals that produce little value, and refreshing norms to match evolving contexts. For example, if monthly demos become repetitive, cadence may shift or agendas redesigned. Sustaining practices prevent burnout and maintain engagement quality. They also ensure that collaboration evolves rather than ossifies, preserving relevance. By treating collaboration as a living system, organizations sustain both inclusivity and impact. This discipline demonstrates respect for customer time and team capacity. Sustaining practices protect trust and ensure that interaction remains productive and energizing. They reinforce that collaboration is not a one-time initiative but an enduring capability that requires care and renewal. Collaboration synthesis underscores that purposeful agendas, inclusive channels, clear decision rights, and visible follow-through transform customer interaction into better product choices and safer delivery. Objectives tie collaboration to outcomes, while mapping and safeguards ensure diverse voices are heard. Engagement models and co-creation practices structure respectful, productive partnership. Part 2 practices demos, pilots, support loops, and closure communication embed collaboration into delivery rhythm. Measurement, knowledge capture, and sustaining practices ensure it remains accountable and effective over time. Together, these disciplines make collaboration more than conversation. They make it the engine of alignment, empathy, and resilience. Collaboration synthesis proves that when teams engage users systematically and inclusively, shipped increments deliver value that is validated, trusted, and enduring. Thanks for tuning in to the Bare Metal Cyber Prepcast, your trusted source for cybersecurity news and insights. Remember to subscribe at baremetalcyber.com so you never miss an update. And visit cyberauthor.me for best-selling cybersecurity books that equip you with expert knowledge. Until next time, stay secure and stay vigilant.